here live with CMajor today. CMajor is broadcasting something brand new. It's Tuesday right here on CMajor Before the Show. Thank you so much for joining me today. And it's a beautiful day here in the greater New York City area. And what I'm aiming to do today is show you how to prep with color. Prepping with color, that's today's focus. That's today's focus here on CMajor Before the Show. So get your colors ready and I'll show you exactly how to do that, because prepping your keyboard with color is going to be the focus of today's show, because over at the CMajor radio show, I'm going to show you actually how to play a melody using a color scheme, or if you prefer, color legend. So thank you so much for joining me here today. So today's show is going to focus also on some student updates. I have some very exciting updates to share with you. Some students that are doing some great things in their piano lessons. And so we'll start off with that today, because I don't want to forget about them. But I have some returning students that are returning from their vacation. So I'm very proud they're coming back and they're ready to continue with their piano lessons. So shout out from my students who just returned from their vacation overseas and they're ready to finish out their summer with piano lessons. So big shout out. Now, before I give you my next shout out, I do want to remind you that school is out. So what does that mean? There is no homework. So CMajor is not going to give you any homework. No questions about did you do your homework. Don't worry about that, because school is out. Let me say that again. School is out. School is out. So, see me over at CMajor's Classroom, because I am starting to share a little bit more of the research that I'm doing throughout the summer. So, the question for CMajor is, what am I doing for the summer? And that is research. So, instead of homework assignments, see me over at cmajorsclassroom.wordpress.com, because I am posting some of the research that I'm doing. Now, the research that I'm focusing on is color research for the summer. So I'm just trying to find ways to make it easy, simplify the process for recreational students to get into playing the piano. Sometimes you have students that are a little bit more hesitant than the student that knows exactly what they want to do on the piano. So by simplifying it into something fun, and in this case colorful, hopefully we can get more students interested in playing the piano. So continuing now with the student updates, I have to welcome back a student who was with me last summer, believe it or not. Last summer, he took a break from his regular piano teacher to visit with his family, and while he was in town, he wanted to work with the piano teacher who would be available for his area. And so here he is again. So I have a returning student. So shout out to him. I'm very excited to work with this student again. Super bright and just has the best support system ever for continuing his piano studies. And so we're going to focus more on literature than we are method this summer. He only has a short time to work with me, but I'm very glad that he is coming back to piano for the summer. Now I have another shout out to a student who is moving up. He recently received the certificate that is found at the back of his piano method, and we filled it out, and now he's moving up to the next level. So congratulations. He received a very big congratulations from his family, and so they are so proud. I mean, he is moving super fast and is very, very, very clear about his goals for piano lessons. So congratulations to that student. Now, I have another student that I would like to say congratulations to, and just congratulations to all of my music theory students. You know that you've been working super hard to study and to aim for the highest scores possible in your music theory exams. And if you are with me and you are at the university level, I am also looking to help you as well, as you know, to raise your scores there as well for the upcoming semester. So shout out to all those students that are working on their music theory. Students that are working on their music theory across the summer. And then I have one student in particular that I just want to say congratulations to, because she really raised her score for the next level. So big congratulations to her, and her family is super supportive and just super proud of her latest score on her music exam. She received the highest score possible, meaning she received the highest score category possible. We'll say it that way. So big congratulations to her. And just to invite you, if you are a student, if you are a parent, if you are a teacher in the greater New York City area, and you just need to chat with someone who is doing music exams for students, I would love to network with you. I can offer advice. I can offer any insights to a program that might work for you the way that it has worked for me. But I find that it is really helpful to those students that want to go far, who want to establish clear goals and know exactly what they want to do with their music making, with their musicianship, with their artistry. So just a big shout out now to all of my students. Big shout out. Big shout out to all of my summer students. And so the summer students, I do want to say, are the ones who are not so much involved in playing piano by color, because they are the more serious-minded students. But let's move on now to my idea for today, which is going to be showing you how to prepare your keyboard for playing by color. So what is that exactly? It's a 1950s idea. I've talked about it a little bit over at the CMajor radio show. So if you follow me here on CMajor Before the Show, you will have your keyboard already prepped and ready, because a little bit later on the CMajor radio show, I'm going to attempt to teach you a melody using the color scheme. Some people like to say the word color legend, but you know exactly what I mean. So just to give you an idea of what I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to try to load the show description now. So in about 2 hours from now, maybe a little bit less, I'm going to be talking about sugar candy coated piano lessons. So it's the C Major's Play Piano by Color method, actually coming up in about an hour and 35 minutes. So if you have a chance, go over to Blog Talk Radio and you will see it over there. But It starts off, do you like candy? Do you like colored candy? Do you like soda pop? Soda pop. Do you enjoy seeing the colors of a rainbow? So many questions about color, but CMajor is excited to share with you her ideas for using various colors to help you navigate your way around the piano. Here in the 21st century, we can use Roy G. Biv to help you with that. It appears that you can use red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet to either label the entire music alphabet or individual letters of the alphabet. And so in the 1950s, publishers used a different color scheme altogether. Music educators suggested back then that by simply following these colors, black, blue, red, brown, green, orange, and yellow, you could learn to play the piano in a flash. So see CMajor, that's today over at the CMajor radio show, and I'm very excited to bring this to you, and I hope that it works well for you. So very exciting, and I look forward to today's show over at the CMajor radio show. So that's coming up next. I'm starting that segment a little bit early today. Normally I would have stayed a little bit more talking about what my students are doing, but I want to make sure that you are prepped and ready so that you can join me over at the CMajor radio show for playing piano by color. So let me take a little bit of a music break here, and I will join you in a little bit. You're listening to CMajor Before the Show, and so what I want to do now is to jump in a little bit early into the next segment to give you the instructions for how to set up your keyboard to play by color. It will be fun. It's supposed to be fun. Music's supposed to be fun, right? So I'm glad you're listening in, because it's also a special edition of the podcast over at the CMajor radio show, because for the first time in the history of the podcast, I'm going to be talking to you for 30 minutes. 30 minutes long this time around. So I look forward to seeing you over there in about an hour and 32 minutes. And so how will you prep your keyboard? First of all, what keyboard do you have? Do you have a piano? Do you have an 88-key keyboard? Do you have a digital piano? Do you have 88 keys? Maybe you only have 76 keys. Maybe you have 61 keys. Maybe you have less than that. But to prep your keyboard properly, what you will need to do is to make sure you have these particular colors. So make sure you have black. Make sure you have blue. Make sure you have red. Make sure you have brown. Make sure you have green. Make sure you have orange. And make sure you have yellow. So I wasn't entirely sure which color scheme I would use, but I've decided on those colors. And so the reason for this, I think that sometimes it's a little bit stressful for students to learn to play a melody on the piano. Sometimes it's easier for them to play by chords, and so organizing the piano by colors can also help you organize the melody, and hopefully it can help you. So The color legend that I'm using today would be that. So let me just say it again in case you missed it. Simply follow these colors: black, blue, red, brown, green, orange, and yellow. And you know what? You can choose what type of mark to use for your color. I named today's show Candy Coated Piano Lessons, Sugar Candy Coated Piano Lessons, because I wanted to pique your interest. But you don't have to use candy. You can use colored buttons. You can use colored strips of paper. In some cases, you can use colored guitar picks if they'll fit on your keyboard. But be careful if you have any small children around or small animals around. You don't want to have them in an area where they might get a hold of something that small. So if you can, though, secure your area. And what you're going to do is place your colored object on your keyboard. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So in the past, what they did was you could actually order, it appears that you could order a keyboard that had these colors outlined for you. Nowadays, if you go to a music store, you can find a practice keyboard, and if you prefer to use something like that and then just color the keyboard to fit your color scheme and then place it behind the keys, in other words, between the top part of the keys and the fall board, it should fit right in there really nicely, really snugly. But what they did was they labeled middle C as a black color. So if you're using jelly beans, in my case I had to use a combination of candy to place on the keyboard, just to give you a visual. So I used a licorice flavored jelly bean to place on my middle C key. So you would need to be comfortable on where to find middle C. If you have the backdrop, it will help you, because in some cases the black keys are shown in groups, but they're also shown as a striped color, so you can't confuse those with your white keys. But the piano keyboard, as you know, is made of all white keys and groups of black keys. The groups should be in 2s and 3s and 2s and 3s. And so if you go to the middle of your keyboard, you'll see 1, 2, C is on the left, and just label that with a black color. In my case, a jelly bean. And I have to say, I really didn't realize how difficult it is to find the colors that you need if you're looking for candy that's a certain color. Not every candy comes in the colors that you need. So, C is labeled black. If you can find C, you can find D. 1, 2, D is in the middle. Label that D blue. And then if you can find D, you can find E. 1, 2, E is to the right of your 2 black key group. And go ahead and label that red. So are you with me? I hope so. Today's show is a little bit different because I'm trying to guide you over the air, and that's always a different experience. So let me just say that again. 1, 2, C is on the left. So you have a black color to label your C. Go ahead and label middle C if you can find middle C. D is in the middle. That's blue. And then E is to the right of your 2 black key group is red. So if I call the colors out, black, blue, red, that's what we're labeling so far. And what's fascinating about playing by color is that you're not even really supposed to be paying attention to the letter names of the keys. You really are supposed to just hear the name of a color and know what to do with it, or see that color and know what to do with it. So if you just think in terms of black and white key relationship on your keyboard, and then just label your keys with the color, somebody could call those colors out to you. There are many ways that you can do it. Okay, now let's go to the 3 black key group. So now you want to label your F. So just think, 1, 2, 3. F is there. F is to the left of your 3 black key group. And so you're going to label that with a brown color. So a root beer flavored jelly bean would work fine. Or in the cases of a hard piece of chocolate candy, a mini chocolate candy that happens to be chocolate colored as well, go ahead and put that on your F. And then, if you can find F, you can certainly find G. So just think 1, 2, 3, G is there, and go ahead and label G green. That's convenient. So far we have F as brown, we have G labeled as green. And because the alphabet ends with G, we're going to start over with the letter A and label that an orange color. So 1, 2, 3, A is there. Go ahead and put your orange color on A. And then, if you can find A, you can certainly find B. So go ahead and put a yellow color for B. So for your F, G, A, B group, the colors should read from left to right as brown, green, orange, and yellow. Brown, green, orange, and yellow. And that's it for the color prep. So if you missed any of this, I'll just call it out briefly when I get over to the CMajor radio show. So hopefully you'll be able to join me over there. But if you have any questions or you need a visual, then just contact me offline, contact me on social media, and I will be very glad to share with you the color legend that I've chosen. So this is how we're organizing the keyboard today. And we're going to play the melody using these colors. Now, I have to tell you that the melody that I'm going to introduce today will use 2 separate G's. So to be honest, go ahead and put 2 green colors on the G, below middle C, and the G an octave higher, because that's really going to be the range. So then the prep should be green, orange, yellow, black, blue, red, brown, green, and orange, and yellow. But it appears that I may just be using from G to G. Also, if you care to, go ahead and move your colors up an octave higher. So then you have a set of colors extending below middle C, above middle C, and then an octave higher than that. So then you would need 3 G's. So 3 green colors. So of course I have a visual in front of me, but I'm just trying to make a visual for you as well. So, but very exciting. I'm excited about this. And what was more exciting was to see how many times I use a certain color in the melody. that I'm going to be sharing. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that melody. Let me take a little quick music break, and I will be right back to talk to you a little bit more about prepping your keyboard for color. I'll be right back. You're here with CMajor Before the Show, and today we're talking about prepping with color. So hopefully you had a chance to prep your keyboard, and so we're going to move now into the song that I'm actually prepping you for. So have you had a chance to listen to Faint Memory by CMajor? It's a song that I wrote, and I did do a tutorial on Faint Memory over at the CMajor radio show, but I demonstrated it from the point where I played a descending C major scale. But I'm going to start with a simplified version of the melody. So that's what I'm going to be attempting to teach you over the air over at the CMajor radio show. So I've already labeled my staves. I'm using mostly a treble clef to show you. I could have written it a little bit differently, but I'm just sticking with the treble clef. So I've broken it down, and I'll tell you a little bit more about how I have it broken down. But either way, the colors remain the same. So you have a color legend of black, blue, red, brown, green, orange, and yellow. And to be honest, we're not going to be using the brown color. So go ahead and label it as brown, but just know that for this particular melody that I'm going to teach you, that I'm really using only 6 of the colors. I'm using black, I'm using blue, red, green, orange, and yellow. So brown will not be used, but it's good to have it on standby just in case. So for today's show. So I look forward again to seeing you over there. In about an hour and 17 minutes from now, I'll be over at the CMajor radio show, and I'll be talking to you about sugar candy coated piano lessons, CMajor's play piano by color method. So big shout out to you if you were able to prep your keyboard. So of course it's not homework, but did you prep your keyboard? Try to add a little humor here on the CMajor Before the Show. So thank you for joining me. And what I want to do now is talk a little bit more about what I'm going to be doing with my own performance over the summer. I keep getting questions about what I'm doing. So I'm trying to decide the next venue that I would like to work with, because I've grown since I started performing in New York City. I've performed in a lot of different venues. In last week's CMajor radio show, I started off the show description with, Did I tell you about the time that CMajor performed at the National Underground? I think that's how I started it. And then I didn't really go into detail about that. I just talked about just being able to work with a teacher that encouraged me to the point that she pushed me to New York. And so I really had to trust her instincts, to trust her belief in me that one day I would be able to play in New York. But just talking about venues, I did play at the National Underground, and then I believe it closed. I'm not sure if it has reopened since then. But other places that I performed, Ella Lounge, I performed at other places on the Lower East Side. I performed on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, and then after that I started to branch out a little bit more into different boroughs. So I've done a performance in Brooklyn, and I've done a performance in Queens. So if you look at the history, a lot of people will say CMajor's performed many shows, but some of those shows were at the same venues, like a repeat performance, and then other shows were brand new. But I can't recall that any of those venues that I performed in had a grand piano. I think it's once you show that you can develop an audience to a certain level that you get invited to those venues that actually have a grand piano in them. So I think I'm going to be working towards that, just the audience building itself, and continuing to work with my fans and to listen to them when they say they want to hear me play certain things, and just grow it from there. But my aim is to start performing in places where a grand piano is already there, it's already tuned and ready to go. So that's where I'm headed. So thank you so much for your support, and thank you to my super fans. So big shout out to my fans and super fans. So without you, I wouldn't have any performance plans in the first place. And I'm starting to get students now that are interested in hearing me perform, as well as parents that have asked me in the past or made the request that when I do perform that they would be invited to the show. And so that's really encouraging that parents are willing to make arrangements so they can be there for a live performance. So I really appreciate you all. So shout out to the parents. And so, what is it that CMajor will be performing? You might want to know that. So, I'm putting together a program where I think that I'm able to start off the show not only with something upbeat, but something that's a little bit more free association. So you'll see that sometimes from time to time an artist will do that. They'll just sit down and just start playing to kind of introduce themselves first, more or less like a live warm-up, but they're actually playing, like they're starting the show. So I'm looking to do something like that, more of a free association piece. It's not something that I've recorded. It's something that's being created live on the spot, just to more or less set the tone, set the mood of the set. And then after that, my JP and Jingy song, I'm looking to present that. So it's still a work in progress, and I still need to make sure that JP and Jingy approve of the song. So big shout out to JP and Jingy. I hope you're having a terrific summer, and I'm looking forward to reconnecting with you and sharing with you what I've come up with so far. So we're all excited about that. It's a fun thing. And we all have a sense of humor about it, so that's a great thing. Now, in addition to that, I would go then into the CMajor song. So, Faint Memory, Gut Feeling, Weathering the Storm, That's All Right, and Butterfly Wish. Those are my top 5 right now that I've been performing out. And then any new material. And then let's say it happens that I get to the end of the set or the end of the show, the end of the concert, and you call me back in and you want to hear something more or less as an encore, then I'm working on that. Now, one thing that seems to be, I won't say it's a request, but I will say it's definitely popular with my fans and beyond, and that is the Charlie Brown song. You know the Linus and Lucy song? Bum, 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 that. So everybody knows that. And so that seems to be a welcome piece that everybody gets excited when they hear the Charlie Brown song or the Linus and Lucy song. So maybe that could be something that would be played as an encore. Let's say if you like the concert enough and you want to hear me play that. The Charlie Brown song was actually one of the first songs that I learned to play on the piano. And I learned to play it by ear first, and then later on was able to see that I had heard everything correctly. So anyway, that's just to give you an idea of C Major's performance plans. Now, we have about 9 minutes left in today's show, and what I want to do now is to spin back around and go back into the play piano by color idea, because I really want to push that today. I think it's something that's really important for recreational piano players who may not have heard of this, but it's something that you can do to ease yourself into playing the piano, that it may even inspire you. If you haven't seen it already, let's say on YouTube or some other place where they have the videos with the colors streaming down. I don't know what the color scheme that's used over there, but I'm just sharing with you the color scheme that we're going to be using on the upcoming episode of the C Major Radio Show. And so give me just a moment. I'm going to play some music for you real quick, and then I'll be back in a bit. You're here with C Major Before the Show, and today's episode is talking about prepping with color. We're talking about prepping with color. So by playing piano by color, we are borrowing an idea from the 1950s. So I told you what we were going to do today. I told you how to set up your keyboard, and now I'm basically going to tell you what I told you. So by playing piano by color, we're borrowing an idea from the 1950s, which actually brought people together, and it made them feel better about learning to play the piano. So just imagine you really want to learn to play the piano, but you don't want to go through learning all types of musical terms. You're not really that interested in literacy. You're interested in just sitting down and playing melodies that you know. Now, in the case of today's episode of the C Major Radio Show, you may know the melody from Faint Memory. If you haven't had a chance to see Faint Memory over at the Apple Store, go ahead and take a look. The album cover, I know, is not anything that special to look at because I didn't put a whole lot into the design, but it says C Major, that's the full C Major album. And then if you just scroll down and look for Faint Memory, you'll see it there. But at least you can listen to either a sample of it or listen to it all together if you have Apple Music, and then you can hear the melody. So what I'm aiming to do is to demonstrate that melody, that you can learn to play just a simple melody like that, or a simplified version of the melody using color, which is what they were doing. So everything from old-timey songs to Stephen Foster songs to classics. So you have the music of Tchaikovsky, you have music by Dvorak, you have music by Chopin. You have these melodies that were very famous that people wanted to learn to play on the piano, but they just did not want to take the time to learn to read the music. So what do? A very popular idea, it seems. So if it helps you feel better to do it, then if you've prepped your piano with color, as we've discussed in today's episode of C Major Before the Show, then you're going to be ready. And it should be fun. It should be fun. So I often feel like as a teacher, sometimes you have students who don't have the privilege of having a piano in the home, or have the privilege of family support. I'll say it that way. I have one student who does have a real piano in the home, but she's the only one in her entire family, and she has a huge family, that is learning to play the piano. But in her case, she is learning to read music, so she is aiming for music literacy. But what happens when you have a piano and you're not interested in reading music, or you have a keyboard and you realize that your learning style just won't let you sit there and focus on reading the notes, that you'd rather do it by ear or do it by feel in some cases? What do? Or if you just want to keep it fun, if you want to keep music making strictly recreational, you don't want to put a lot of time into it, playing piano by color is one way to do it. So I've helped you to prep your keyboard today by color using the color scheme that I gave you. And I think that the rest is up to you. Just have fun with it. And don't forget to see me over at CMajor's Classroom, cmajorsclassroom.wordpress.com, because I'm going to post the color legend that I used today, and you'll be able to see it over there. I think I posted a little bit of what I was thinking about doing, but I don't think I confirmed which color legend I wanted to use. Now, did you hear of Roy G. Biv? I feel like some people don't know what that is, and I don't want to make the assumption that you do know, but Roy G. Biv is basically the colors of the rainbow. You see it a lot if you're shopping out for office supplies. If you're at a craft store, then you'll see this color scheme. It's everywhere, and you may have missed it. So if you don't want to use the color black, for instance, if you don't want to find any licorice colored jelly beans, then you may decide to label your C's a different color, and that's up to you. Just make it fun. Come up with your own color scheme. I'm sure there's an algorithm or something out there that will allow you to just come up with your own combinations. I'm sure there's a math problem somewhere that will just show you how to juggle 7 colors of your choice, and then you can change the colors every time. Now, how that would affect your learning, I don't know. I don't know what the outcomes would be of that. But let's have some fun today. So thank you so much for tuning into C Major Before the Show, Prepping with Color. And tune into the C Major Radio Show, and then tune in next week, because I think what I might do is actually continue this discussion, but maybe with a spin on classical melodies. So tune in for that, and I'll give you a little bit more information on that next week. So thank you so much. Have a great day. I hope that you find some way to put music into your day. If you're in the greater New York City area, if you're near the Jersey Shore, get out and enjoy the weather. It is great beach weather. It's beautiful outside, and there's no reason why you can't find some music somewhere. So have a great day, and I'll see you next time right here on C Major Before the Show. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.